Hello, and we are back today. I am your host, Margie Taylor, Conroe Culture News, live streaming irlonestar.com, Facebook Live, Conroe Culture News. We're talking about wine today. I mean, what a great topic, right? So we have a couple of entrepreneurs who have started their own wine business, and the first one today is Alex Bader, and him and his wife, Catherine, started a business in New Waverly.
Howdy.
Yes,
Thank you.
Golden Oak
Appreciate it.
Microcellar.
That's right. Yeah, thank you for being here. Appreciate that. And
I want to hear all about that. So,
Happy to. Yeah.
how, when, why, all of that? How did you get started and why did you get started?
Yeah, so the why is probably a pretty easy answer to this question because it just happened, literally. It happened actually through a winemaking book and then later a more in-depth continued winemaking book also. And that just ignited my fire, my passion about wine.
So you love wine.
I do love wine, and I love the craft of wine. You know, I have always enjoyed, as a native Austrian, I grew up at least in the western part of Austria, there is not much wine growing, or if any at all. Okay, so this is our beer country, okay?
That's true. Yeah.
So I grew up as a diehard beer consumer or beer drinker, and, you mingle in the beer gardens, especially, in summer like this. But as I guess I transformed more into what really appealed to me was it's kind of the glamour a bit, So for me, wine has a bit more...
A little more snooty.
A classic.
Yeah.
More on a positive connotation.
Yes.
Okay? So it has more of a glamorous or, a shiny or a classic, very traditional style. It's a bit older than beer making, or quite a bit older than beer
yes.
making, as a matter of fact.
BC.
And I'm an engineer by training and by education, and I just love the idea to get my hands dirty and combine, good engineering practices, meaning with record keeping, analysis,
details,
lessons learned,
all the details,
exactly,
yes.
Which are important. Okay?
Sure they are.
Yeah, they're boring, but they're important.
So you're down to earth with all
earth.
of the information. You're not just the dreamer, but you're about the details and how you can make this happen.
Yes, that's one part of it. The other
Yes.
part is, in my opinion, the craft. And the craft is just absolutely enticing to me. So that, I love to experiment, and that's still an advantage for our operation, our small operation, because we are small. So, the risk is fairly low in terms of, or the consequences are fairly low in the case, So we are rolling with experiments, and we are trying to, implement a bit, new fermentation practices, or with different changes, with different kinds of yeast.
You're willing to try
so
different
forth.
things to see
We're
how
trying
it
to do
works
different
and
things
blends.
a bit,
And
So it's liberating. It's essentially liberating, and you can pour
I like
your
that,
whole
liberating.
passion. You put your whole passion into the craft
Right.
without, being followed necessarily by a business plan, let's say, or, meeting certain financial, goals or numbers also.
So the boundaries are not defined. You can jump outside the boundaries and learn and grow and
We are
be
trying
immersed
to.
in it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's what I hear you saying, that it's just a lot of fun, to do that. So
Not always, though. There are moments,
no, I get that.
right? But,
No, I definitely get that.
But in total, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So you're in New Waverly, and you're on 13 acres.
That's
Why
correct.
New Waverly?
So that's...
How did you come upon New Waverly?
Yeah, so that... When we went... So we always wanted a weekend place. So our residence is in the woodlands. So our kids are born in the woodlands. They are now teenagers, 14 and 17 years old. And 8 years ago, we wanted to get out of the city and just enjoy, backcountry life. and experience that also because, I mean, my wife, for number one, she is a city person. Okay, so she grew up in Shanghai, which has, I think, 3 times more
Oh, wow.
people than my whole
It's a
native
different
country
culture,
has.
yes.
Okay, and well, I did grow up in the mountain area, but still city life essentially, even though it was in a smaller scale. So nevertheless, so we were really intrigued. Okay, we we came to Texas 18 years ago. We fell in love with the culture of Texas. So now we wanted to experience the countryside of Texas because we didn't know much about it. I mean, my wife is still working as a consultant, for corporate America, and so did I for a long time. So we wanted to get out and explore nature and experience nature. So that's why we found the place in New Waverly after I think we looked maybe about 2 dozen of places really out there in the country. And as soon as we drove into the driveway, into the property, I mean, real estate decisions, I suppose, are not only logical decisions, but also emotional decisions.
Sure. It's a feeling.
So the heart was pounding, essentially.
Sure.
Okay, so
It
this
just
place,
felt right.
It felt right, exactly. Emotionally, it just felt absolute. It felt home, and we just loved it. And it was posted on the market. I think it was the second day when it came out.
Wow.
And
So you jumped on it?
And we jumped on it. We did jump on it.
Sometimes you have to do that.
We jumped on it, yeah.
You just got to take a risk.
I mean, we looked at it. Can we afford it? And what do we want to do with it? And I mean, for us also it was a stepping stone too. So we were never landowners, So for us, that was. I mean, we had no idea in the beginning. What I need a tractor? Why do I need a tractor? I have a riding mower. Well, you're not getting far with a riding mower. With 13 acres in the meantime, it's a bit different because we are leasing cattle out. That's a 10-acre lot, and the vineyard essentially is 1 acre, and that's already plenty, right, amongst winemaking and.
I don't know how much you need for winemaking. You tell me.
Well, come up.
Yeah, I know. I need to come up. So it sounds like it's in a beautiful place. You have a lot of landscaping. You have cattle. You have horses.
The neighbors
you
have horses, yes. We don't.
Nature. I mean, it's all about just being back to nature and outdoors is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah.
That, you have the hustle and bustle of the city and the woodlands and all of that.
Yes,
and you kind of just wanted a place to relax.
To decompose and look at the stars and look at the sunsets and do some log fires.
And maybe drink wine.
Absolutely. Yeah, how can I forget that?
Yes. So you've been interested in wine and you were reading about it, and now you've got your hands in it and you're growing vineyards.
Yes, that's right.
So what kind of wine do you have?
So if we look at the vineyard real quick, we basically have a couple red varietals, which is Merlot and Syrah, and then we have Blanc du Bois. Is basically half an acre is Blanc du Bois for us. The big advantage with Blanc du Bois is it is a very regionally proven grape varietal for this area because we have Pierce disease here. So it's just the Gulf region, the moisture, so it attracts the glassy sharpshooters, etc. So, and that's a disease. It's a bacterial disease which cannot be cured right now, at least from what I know. I'm not an expert, but what I know as a winemaker, let's say. Now the Vitis vinifera grapes are not. So we do have Merlot, which is still there. Not a single one has died on Pierce disease. The Syrah is actually doing really well. Now, as of last year, we have doubled the vineyard. Now it is an acre. It's small. But we put in, I think, 130 vines, which are called Caminanoa. That is also a lab-developed grape varietal, similarly to the Blanc du Bois, which is a crossing also.
What do you like best?
So, I mean, I love Blanc du Bois for multiple reasons. I think Blanc du Bois is a bit undervalued. It still has a lot of growth potential, and not only as a grape and as a fruit, but also from winemaking practices too. And in terms of our whites, we actually specialize in Blanc de Bois, which essentially is part of our identity because it is the local grape. Okay, so it is wildly
Makes
planted.
sense.
It's wildly planted in South Texas, Southeast Texas. Huck jumped on it. I mean, I think 3 decades ago, or maybe even more. The grape came out, I think, in the 70s. Caminanua, I'm really excited about because here in Texas, we just don't know yet. So it was released last year from UC Davis, and they did have some bench trials in California, but Texas terroir is different. So we are going through the second leaf right now. We did have grapes, but not for harvest. I mean, it's just too tiny, and you shouldn't, regardless. But we'll see what door that opens.
So you're trying things out. So you
excited
had
about
your first bottling, was it 2016? Is that when you first started out?
Yeah, so we formed our company in 2016. That's correct. But essentially, we didn't sell until we opened our tasting room, which was October of last year.
I thought it was pretty recent.
It was, yes.
So
yeah.
now you're getting out
Yeah.
and you're involved, and I noticed that you also have some really interesting wines. You have a peach nectarine. I mean, you've got a lot of different flavors that I'm sure you're going to be tasting.
Yeah. So the
You're smiling, so
I'm
tell me
sorry
why
that I'm
you're smiling.
Yeah. So the peach and the peach nectarine is actually an accident. And
Oh,
yeah.
that's why you're laughing.
Yeah, but the accident introduced by my wife. Okay, so my wife, she has a sweet palate.
Yeah.
Right, and I have a dry palate.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, literally.
That's how my husband and I are.
Yeah. So literally,
Okay.
This relationship is a yin and yang relationship. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
But we have friends of ours. They are German natives. They are retired in the meantime, but they settled a long time ago outside of Paris, Texas, up north.
Mm-hmm.
And he introduced us with his own homemade peach wine, and it was something that we have never tried before, and we have never experienced before. It's a dessert wine. It's a very sweet dessert wine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like a sherry or something?
Yeah, or
Almost.
even a port, but it's not comparable to a port because it's a completely different winemaking practice, and it's fruit, okay, and not grape. So my wife fell in love, and she essentially gave me an executive order. Well, you gotta make this, okay?
So,
And,
okay.
Yeah, and
so it is.
and they allowed us to do that actually, and we call it Beatrice. So the peach is, we label the peach as the fanciful name is Beatrice.
I saw that.
Which is the wife of the peach actually, to me, the original, in that style, the original peach winemaker. Yeah, who is Jochen Kessel out of.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So it's been going along since October. So you're like a baby. You're in your infancy, right? I mean, you will almost be a year old.
Yeah, I don't look like a baby, do I?
No, but I mean, starting up and then getting it going. And so you do wine tasting out there, right?
Yes, yeah. So I think we were really lucky in terms of timing, and I guess luck really plays a big role with it. So I guess we were really lucky in terms of timing and by acquiring the property up there, because, I mean, as we know, there's a lot of expansion up north between the Woodlands or Spring and up to Huntsville, essentially. So we were really fortunate,
Everybody wants to live in the country.
Yes, yes. And there is new concepts.
And you
of
still
living
live in the
country.
woodlands, right?
We still do
Okay.
live in the woodlands because our teenagers go to school.
School, right.
And they just love it. And we enjoy it too. But secondly, I think we were lucky also in terms of timing our new facility. So in 2 years ago, in 2019, we started building a metal barn, insulated, which houses our winery, our aging room, and our tasting area, basically, which we completed just at the time when, unfortunate time when the pandemic really started to substantially, swamp the country last year. Because now, with all this inflation going on, I don't even know if we could have afforded it.
Sure.
So we did open in October, and it has been an exciting journey for us, And
So you're still having fun.
we're still having fun.
You're still exploring, trying new things.
We're still exploring. We still have a lot of ideas. We still have a lot of home improvements to do. So
it's exciting.
It is exciting, absolutely. It actually makes me get up early in the morning, believe it or not.
So let's talk about some of the events that you're involved in away in the community, and then some of the events that you have at your property.
Happy to. Mm-hmm.
So what's coming up first?
Okay. So, if you go on our homepage, for example, we have
which is Golden Oak Microcellar, right? No. Yes. GoldenOakMicrocellar.com.
Yes, ma'am. GoldenOakMicrocellar.com. So you go on the Winery events page, where we essentially list everything out until end of September. In the meantime, we're working on the last period of the year also. So what's coming up within the upcoming 6 weeks now really is we have been very blessed and fortunate to work with great partners. We have a brunch that we roll out on a bi-weekly schedule.
Mm-hmm.
The next brunch is coming up September 11th,
Mm-hmm.
and then 2 weeks from them also.
So tell me about the brunch. That's 10 to 1, and what do you serve?
So we are partnering with Angie's Choice Catering out of Willis, and they are just phenomenal in terms of bringing their kitchen to the venue. Okay, and that's what they have perfected. They cater weddings, etc., big events too, and they bring the chefs out there, and they create custom-made omelets with all the ingredients that you would like. Mushrooms,
Right there on
onions,
the
etc.
spot for
right
you?
there on the
Okay.
spot and fresh,
Mm-hmm.
and we have basically 2-course. If you want to call a breakfast a 2-course meal, then you gotta start with the omelets. People come in, they want to have the mimosa first. We offer a signature mimosa, which is a wine-based mimosa.
I was thinking, yes.
So we'll do Beatrice.
Yes.
Okay, so we do peach
Yes,
wine.
that makes sense.
Makes sense, right?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
we want to have it a bit sweet. So we do peach wine with Blanc du Bois right here,
And there
which
it
is
is.
dry, which is
Mhm.
dry. And the rest is just standard, right? So OJ, bit Sprite, lemon juice a bit, and then we bubble it up. So
It's very
we
sweet.
we just make it on the spot, and
Mhm.
and that's our first serve, and then we'll do Belgian waffles with berry toppings, basically.
Oh.
And since it's still fairly hot, well, it is not fairly, it's very hot, but hopefully in September it's gonna get a bit better.
Oh, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
You
That's
never
right.
know.
We are serving dry rosé wine, so which we feel is a good. It pairs well, but also it complements the mimosa as well. So it has kind of the same style of wine, in my opinion, too.
So when you come to the brunch, can you just show up, or do you have to make reservations? How does that work?
Yeah, so we ask people to buy tickets online. So
Okay,
this
so
is
that you know in advance how many are
This
coming.
is really critical. Yeah, that's really critical so that we know. I mean, we always have a bit more, just in case of drop-ins, but it's really important for us.
It helps for planning.
Exactly, from a logistical point of view, that please buy the tickets online.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, you can order as 2 or 1 day before the event even, but preferably no later
A
than
little
2
bit
days,
ahead.
before
So
the
you
event.
have that on September 11th and 25th. So twice a month, you
Yes.
generally do that
Yes.
from 10 to 1. And do you give a tour of the winery while they're there?
So we always offer tours, because most of the time, especially on Saturdays, my wife and or myself, we're gonna be up there. We're happy to host. So tours go, on a request basis, essentially all the time.
Okay.
Certainly on Saturdays, we can do winery tours. We can do a vineyard tour. Now the next event that we are having is basically to. We haven't set up anything for Sundays yet, so we came out with an eat after church luncheon, which essentially is a pulled beef sandwich, and no tickets needed. So
it's informal. Just
it's
show up.
informal. The sandwich is free, and if you want to compliment it with a glass of wine, that's fantastic. We're trying to time it, essentially, obviously lunch period, but also church period.
It's a relaxing way to unwind on the Sunday afternoon. Have a little bite to eat, have
Yes,
a glass
ma'am.
of wine,
Yes, ma'am.
enjoy
Yeah.
your venue
Yeah.
in the vineyards, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That sounds nice. So you also have a full moon stroll, and that's on September 20th because it's a full moon.
If science is not wrong, it is September 20th. Yes.
Okay.
And we actually,
So that's a Monday.
and that's a Monday. Yeah.
So it's a
absolutely.
Monday.
Yeah.
So full moon Monday.
It's a full moon Monday. Yeah. It does not follow Sunday.
So, I mean, that's unusual. Who
That
has
is
events on
unusual.
Mondays?
That's absolutely unusual. So Mondays off.
No competition.
Mondays? No. Well, probably not.
Well, you never know.
You never know. But it is a Monday, but it is, I think, reasonable hours too. So we opening the doors at 7:00. Again, it's all casual. Drop-ins welcome. We're gonna be there. We certainly gonna do the stroll because I personally love to stroll the vineyard exactly at that
With a glass of wine?
With a glass of wine.
Of course.
Yeah. And so I think around 7:20 or 7:30ish, we should have sunset. And then 10
it's
minutes
getting earlier and
later
earlier.
also- yeah, exactly. 10, 15 minutes later, we're gonna have the moonrise. So I'm excited
Just
about
a
that.
nice evening.
And on top of that, September 21st is actually Chinese Moon Festival. So it coincides,
Okay.
with that. Yeah.
I like that. We need to get that out.
With that tradition also. So I think my wife wants to do a surprise. So we'll see what that means.
So
What
maybe
she
this
has-
could be a
what
trend
she
to do a
has
full
in-
moon stroll.
It could be, yeah.
It could be.
Could be, yeah.
So it's something innovative. Nobody's doing that. So that's really great. So you're also
Appreciate it.
participating in the Montgomery Wine Fest.
Yes. So it's getting started pretty quickly. It's around the corner.
September 18th, Saturday.
September 18th,
Old
Saturday.
Montgomery.
Yes, coming up. Absolutely. Yeah. No, we are.
And they
We-
haven't had this, but they usually get a lot of people. I mean, they have
Yeah.
had it, but they didn't have it last year.
Yeah.
This is a big event.
Yeah, we are very excited about this.
This is your
because
first big event, right?
This is this is the biggest event that we're going this year. Absolutely. And we have been there as consumers, years ago. And
So you know
it's-
what it feels like.
I know what it feels like here on the other side of the fence, and,
As a spectator
and
sport.
we are very thankful also that we are participating. Yeah, and I think it's gonna be. I mean, it has always been organized extremely well, and
Yeah.
it has attracted a lot of people from. I mean, the greater Houston area. So we're excited to be part of that. Absolutely, and
Well, that's great.
we will have whites and reds, but we also will bring samples of the peach wine too.
So can they also buy wine there, or is it just sampling?
They can buy wine there as well. Yes, absolutely.
Bottles of wine?
Bottles of for to
Okay.
go. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they can do that.
Nice. That should help you a lot. And then you'll have your little flyers and things out to tell them about all the other events, and you can
Yes.
tell them about the full moon stroll just in time.
Good point.
See?
Absolutely.
It's
right
just
around the
PR,
corner.
that's all.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Okay.
That's smart brain. What my kids would say to me.
So you can learn more about this by going to their Facebook page, Golden Oak Microcellar, and to be consistent, goldenoakmicrocellar.com. And you could Google them and find them pretty easily too. And what else? Anything else, Alex? What did I miss?
Yeah. So what I would like to mention real quick, if I still have a bit
Oh yes,
time.
you have time.
Okay, appreciate that. So we have started rolling out a program that we call Orchestral Tasting Analysis. And we have started rolling this out in our tasting room. And actually, as a matter of fact, at the Gemens Ball as well, Yeah, it's a program called Orchestral Tasting Analysis, where essentially the concept of this program is that you describe the flavor of a wine based off musical instruments and specifically string instruments and windwood instruments. So if you grab a bottle, let's say right here, the Blanc du Bois, okay, so the tasting analysis and the description, the flavor description, in our wine menu would tell you, okay, it's green apple, maybe a little bit yellow apple, it's crisp, it's fresh, it maybe a little bit, lemon, and but it's very fruit forward. Okay, typical summer wine, dry. All right. Now, how do you translate that now into a musical ensemble? Okay, with using players like they use string instruments or windwood instruments. Well, so we identified a key. Okay, so in that example with the Blanc du Bois, green apple, for us on our key associates with the violin. Why the violin? Because the violin also is mostly melody, or almost exclusively, I would almost say, melody, not harmony. It's crisp, it's higher pitch, it's faster speed, faster pace. Okay, that's where the violin goes in. Now, you may find here also a bit of a red apple. All right, so the red apple is the next nuance down, which is the viola. All right, so it's still partly melody, mostly probably harmony, yeah, but it still keeps up the pace, you know, maybe less, maybe lower in pitch, let's say. So we offer those bottle color tags now at our wine tasting room. So when you buy, so I brought an example, that's our rosé wine, okay, which we call Seta Rosa, all right? So what you see here on this color tag here is a viola, a violin, and a piano. Okay, and that again now resembles the flavor profiles of our Seta Rosa. All right. Now,
this is an interesting concept.
Because ultimately what we want to create is we want to create musical harmony, right? So it is really important for wine to be in harmony. Everybody talks about a balanced wine, and if you talk to sommeliers, and I'm not a sommelier, okay, but it's important that the wine is balanced, right? Now, an ensemble needs to be balanced also, right? So that would be now a trio, an ensemble with 3 players, and it has QR codes on the backside.
Interesting.
And if you grab your smartphone and you grab your camera and you pull up the left one, then it basically pulls you up to our website that explains the background of orchestral tasting analysis, but also gives you the key or the legend to it, so which creates the structure around it. If you go on the second or the right QR code, it connects you to a Golden Oak playlist that basically ties in to independent artists. So we're not taking credit of any of the artists' work. Okay, it's their work, but it gives you a playlist that represents now that ensemble that is playing to that particular.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work for y'all.
It's a lot of fun.
But
work.
it's interesting.
It's a lot of fun work. Yeah.
That's a whole different way of looking at things.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I have kids that play. You know, one plays in an orchestra, one used to play in a band. So I had some.
You kind of just went off on that.
I had some support. Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I could talk about the wine, and my older daughter could talk more about. Well, no, you cannot use the harp for that. You know, you gotta use the bassoon for that. That makes more sense.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
See, now you need to have the orchestra out there to play with your wine.
Yes.
We can talk about that later.
Yeah, that takes. Yeah, we can talk about this maybe years later probably.
So I'm told we have a few minutes to wrap this up. So again, you are Alex Bader with Golden Oak Microcellar Wines, and you are in New Waverly. You can go to the website. They can go to Montgomery Wine Fest and taste your wine and other wines, but they need to come to your booth and try it out.
Huntsville is rolling out the Fair on the Square. That's another big one.
Well, that's good.
Around the corner also.
So, and I'm assuming on your Facebook page you will post that you're at these events. So if somebody wanted to find out and go and taste the wines, of course they can come out there to your brunch at the winery, September 11th and 25th. And if they go RSVP, then you would like them to do that. Or the Full Moon Stroll, which will be just right after the Montgomery Wine Fest for a full moon, and get a glass of wine, stroll through the winery. So this is fantastic.
And
I
what's
learned
not
a
on
lot
the
more.
website yet is
Yes.
we are coming up with music also. So music is gonna be then October, November, maybe December also. So we really want to use the golden months, for a fantastic, winery experience. So we are working with the Sarah Kelly Music School out of the Woodlands, and
Very nice.
bring new talent, bring new gifted talent out to the winery.
Lots of great ideas.
Thank you.
That's what you do as an entrepreneur, right? You're always thinking.
You're always thinking.
Always breaking the boundaries, trying new things. And with wine, why not?
Yeah,
So
that's why meditation is so important, I think.
absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And we appreciate you coming out. Show me the wine bottle again so everybody can see it. There it is. Blanc de Bois. So try it out. Get out. Get out of your comfort zone. Try something new, right? Thank you.